Alright, silly people, here's the situation. It's been about a week since I've recorded, really. And so this is going to be another sort of rant style video before I get back into, you know, doing physics problems until my ears fall off. And the topic of today's rant is why YouTube? And so I just kind of wanted to explain why I choose to do physics problems on YouTube rather than just, you know, release PDFs of my scans of my work somewhere. Or in the case of like computational physics problems, why don't I just put all this on a GitHub and then release it out to the world for people to search up and look at? Um, and it's because I think there is a difference between copying down some kind of work that you're doing for some assignment or you're doing it to study, or actually being able to listen to somebody explain their thought process and being able to engage with that thought process directly. If you can, doing physics problems is not just about learning how to, you know, do certain amounts of math and also being able to, use the right laws in certain places. It's also about being able to get to that point where you can list off the laws that you need to use and list off the mathematical process that you need to do in order to get to the goal by thinking about the methods that you're learning to apply. And that's kind of what you'll find that you learn. If not in undergrad, then definitely in grad school, you will learn the the ability to look at a problem, figure out what you need to do, and just do it. The doing it is, that's kind of ancillary to the point. Uh, but the learning how to do it is how you are able to get to a point where you can also do things like research and teaching, because not only do you know the things that you're trying to spout off to get people to learn, but you also know how to get to that point from like base principles, right? It's that buildup of knowledge so you get to the point where you can pretty much do whatever. Um, and I think I'm not even at that point yet. I'm still in grad school. I've solved a lot of problems at this point, but I'm still not the best problem solver. And again, why YouTube? This is why, because it literally helps me get better at solving the problems, talking about it, explaining it as I go, because really that's the best way to learn anything is by to teaching it to other people. And I don't get a lot of feedback, obviously, from the people that watch these videos, because like it is a really small channel at this point. I don't expect it to take off in any meaningful way. I just need to get it out, and some feedback I do get, and it's nice that I get it. But uh, you know, eventually, uh, I'm going to be able to assess how I'm doing in each of these problems, just by watching it back whenever I edit. Um, and I'm not even very good at editing yet. And that's another reason why I don't think this channel is going to take off in any meaningful way. Uh, uh, if I had to list another reason, it'd probably be because who watches this, man? Who actually wants to, in their free time, sit down and watch somebody solve physics problems? Probably some freaks out there that like it. Uh, but I mean, even I don't go out of my way to watch physics problems in my free time. I'm usually like playing Luigi's Mansion or something, um, more fun. But you know, if I can continue to do this, I will continue to get my daily like physics content in and be satisfied with it. Um, and so, if somebody out there really likes to also work through these problems, that's really cool for them. And I'm going to keep doing it. So, is it the end of Nay Physics? Obviously not. I'm still here. I was just taking a couple days off. Um, the other topic I kind of wanted to rant about is why, YouTube. Um, and that's just more about like YouTube made a decision recently. I'm sure if you use the platform as much as I do, that you know what they did, right? They made it so that there's this AI that's looking at your channel and figuring out whether or not they need to ID you so that you can watch 18 plus content. Um, and I'm sure some of you thought that that's what happened to me, that I got ID'd and I just wasn't going to upload anymore. That's not the case. I didn't get ID'd yet. And it's probably because I put a tag on all of these videos that I put out that it's not for kids. Obviously, kids wouldn't want to watch this anyway. It's kind of boring. Um, so that's probably why they haven't tagged me. It definitely is not have to do with the content that I consume. I consume some pretty kiddish stuff sometimes. So who knows what they take into account, if they even take into account like my camera feed at all. It's hard to say because it's a big tech company. Um, why did they make this decision to start IDing people that they suspect are under 18? I've heard a lot of ideas as to why, um, and I'm going to present a different idea to what I've heard thus far. Um, at some level, people think that there is some company or advertising agency that cares about what children see, right? And they want to censor stuff that they think is unsafe for children to watch. And, you know, whether or not that is a good thing or not, I can tell you it's not the advertising companies, it's not YouTube, it's not the credit card companies that make the decisions on things like Steam. Um, it's actually just the countries that Google is trying to expand out towards. Google is obviously already an international company, but they don't have a presence in every country in the world like some people think that they do. Um, some countries have a lot stricter laws on the media that their populace can consume. Talking about some countries in Asia, some countries in the Middle East, some countries in Africa, even pretty stringent on what their populace can and cannot consume. Um, and this move by Google and also the advertising companies is to make it so that their platform is more appealing to those countries. So now there is actually a thing to implement locking out children from certain content. Um, and then they have to show an ID, obviously, to get to that content. Um, and that maybe will result in more money for YouTube and the advertising companies, right? They're extending their reach out to other countries, other populations they haven't before. Um, and so that will probably pull in more money for them, and that's it. I mean, short answer is money, of course. That's what the answer always is. But it's that's sort of the long-winded explanation as to why. At least that's what I think it is. It could be anything else. Um, I'm no master of the current economic, political situation globally, or of even the inner workings of YouTube, because they are incredibly vague about these sorts of things, and nobody really can say that they are a master of it unless they're inside the institution. Um, whether or not the effects of doing this policy, where they have to ID people, is going to work out for YouTube, if it is actually going to be more profitable. Um, my bet is that it will be, for sure. Um, obviously, like the countries that see this policy change, some of them will be like, "Oh, okay, YouTube is good now," and they'll extend their laws to include YouTube in the sort of media that their people can consume. Um, and then the people that already had YouTube, they probably don't care. The majority of them won't care that they have to show an ID to get certain content. Uh, honestly, the people in I don't want to say more developed countries, but people that have had Google longer are so used to having their identity just stolen from them and giving it away so that they can access certain things, certain benefits of life, um, that they won't care that YouTube is asking for an ID. They'll probably give it fairly openly and freely, and so yeah. probably YouTube will make more money from this, and uh, it's too hard, like it's too soon to say whether or not that's the case. The decision was only made like a few days ago, so it's too early to see any long-term effects, and so we can only really talk about it in concept. But I mean, let's check on YouTube like a month from now and see if they are getting more views than usual, making more money than usual, uh, and we'll see if my prediction was right. And you know, that's where I'm betting. But yeah, that's kind of it. Just wanted to make another rant video before I started getting back into the YouTube, getting problems done, uh, finishing up Newman's computational physics. I am saving up my money right now for a new remarkable tablet, so I expect to try and buy that around the time that I finish Newman computational physics. I am taking three graduate level classes and also research and also teaching labs starting next week. So, you know, whether or not it's going to be a steady outflow, daily content is certainly something that's on my mind. If it is or is not going to happen, I'm, if I don't have time for these sorts of things, I usually end up making time for it anyway, because that's just the way that I am. But you know, don't be surprised if I miss a day or two of uploads because I'm probably busy doing QFT stuff. So that's it, really.